Did you ever think a tiny piece of copper could make you a millionaire? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about one of the most unexpected treasures you could find in your pocket change, the 1949 wheat penny. You might want to go check your coin jar, because this little guy could be worth a whopping $1.4 million. No, seriously. It's not a typo. That's not a typo, right? Yep, it's real, and I'll tell you how to spot it, why it's worth that much, and how you can maybe, just maybe, be the lucky one who finds it. Let's rewind a bit and set the stage. Imagine you're just casually sifting through some loose change, right? Maybe you're at a thrift store, or more realistically, you're like me, and you're knee-deep in loose change at the bottom of your couch cushions, praying for a forgotten $5 bill to pop up. But hold up. You find something that catches your eye. A 1949 wheat penny. Now, you might think, cool, it's old. Maybe I can use it for a craft project. But, my friend, that little penny could be worth more than your car. Let me break down why this is so mind-blowing. The thing with the 1949 wheat penny is, it was meant to be pretty standard. You know, just another coin in the lineup from the US Mint. But here's the kicker. There's a rare version of this penny that was never stamped with a mint mark. Why? Well, the US Mint made a mistake. Some of these coins were made at the Philadelphia Mint, which usually doesn't put a mint mark on their coins. But, over time, we realized that a small batch of them were minted without a mint mark, and it turns out, this error makes the coin super valuable today. Now, this penny might look identical to the regular 1949 wheat penny to the untrained eye. But trust me, when it's the real deal, it can sell for upwards of $1.4 million. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Just imagine a tiny penny that could send you to a tropical island with your feet up, sipping a coconut drink. It's a real possibility. So, how do you know if you've got one of these goldmine pennies in your pocket? Well, first things first, you need to know that there's a regular 1949 wheat penny, which has a mint mark if it was made in Denver or San Francisco. But the one we're talking about here has no mint mark at all. It was minted in Philadelphia, and that lack of mint mark is the key clue to get into the nitty-gritty of it. You're going to want to check for a few things. Of course, it has to be from 1949. Any other year won't cut it. Look for the familiar wheat stalks on the back. It's the iconic wheat penny design, which is why they call it that. Most pennies from 1949 will have a D or S if they were made in Denver or San Francisco. If there's nothing there, you might have a jackpot on your hands. But here's the deal. These 1949 no mint mark pennies aren't just hiding in any old coin jar. You gotta be on the lookout. It's a bit of a needle in a haystack situation, but if you can spot one, you're in for a payday. Now, you're probably wondering, why on earth is this penny worth $1.4 million? Well, the value comes from rarity and demand. There's a very limited number of these errors floating around, and the collectors who are hunting them down are willing to pay big bucks for a chance to own a piece of US history. And hey, if you think about it, it's not just about the coin itself. It's a rare moment of history that makes this penny an incredible find. The coin's condition also plays a massive role in how much it's worth. A mint-condition penny with zero wear or tear is worth way more than a beat-up one that's been tossed around in your pockets for years. So, if you think you have one, get it checked by a professional. Don't just trust your casual eye. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through an old box of loose coins, thinking I was just looking for a cool vintage quarter or something to add to my collection. Well, I wasn't expecting much when the lady behind the stall mentioned her coins came from all over the place. I pulled out a 1949 penny, and for fun, I checked for the mint mark. There it was, no mint mark. I'm not saying I found one worth $1.4 million, but let me tell you, my heart skipped a beat. It just goes to show, you never know when you might stumble upon something amazing. So, to wrap things up, keep an eye on those pennies. The 1949 no mint mark wheat penny is a rare find, but if you've got one, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone casually looking through old change, remember, you could be just one coin away from a huge discovery. If you want more tips on how to find coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on our tips and tricks for finding hidden treasures. You could be the next person holding on to a penny worth millions. Who knows? Maybe one day, I'll be watching your video, hearing about how you found the next big coin discovery. Do you have a jar of loose change lying around at home? Maybe a drawer full of pennies from all those years of not wanting to deal with the spare change? Well, get this. One of those pennies could be worth a small fortune. Yes, you heard me right. It's not just any penny. It's a 1970 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. The kicker? It could be worth $1.3 million. I know, it sounds like a story straight out of a treasure hunt movie, but it's real, and I'm here to tell you all about it. So, if you've got a couple of minutes to spare, stick around as we dive into the value of this rare coin and how you can spot one in your own collection. Let's get started. Okay, let's break this down. The 1970 Mint Mark penny, when found in certain conditions, is worth a lot more than just 1 cent. In fact, it can be worth $1.3 million. Yes, you read that right. That's because some 1970 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong planchet, which is like a piece of metal used to make the coin. Instead of the usual copper-plated zinc planchet, these pennies were struck on a copper planchet, making them way more valuable. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do I know if I've got one of these rare coins? Well, I've got a few tips for you. First off, the 1970 penny doesn't stand out much at first glance, and that's where the fun begins. But don't be fooled. You need to check the weight and color. If the penny feels heavier or has that bright copper shine, you might just have something special on your hands. But before you get too excited, it's important to know that the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. The better the condition, the more money you could make. If your penny looks like it's been through a few too many rolls, don't expect it to fetch $1 million. But even in slightly worn condition, it could still be worth a decent amount. If you're looking for one of these copper-plated 1970 pennies, pay close attention to the mint mark. It should be a D located just below the date on the front. But don't stop there. Check the color, weight, and make sure it has that signature luster. The more unique, the better. Now, you might be wondering, how did such a mistake happen? It's 1970, and the US Mint is cranking out pennies at full speed. But somehow, a few copper planchets that were meant for larger coins slipped into the machines for the 1 cent production. And just like that, a handful of these rare pennies were born. You see, sometimes, mistakes like these happen, and when they do, they can make a coin incredibly valuable. I like to think of it as the coin version of Oops, I Did It Again. But instead of a pop star, it was the US Mint, and instead of a hit song, we got $1 million penny. It's kind of funny to think about how a simple mistake like that can turn into a treasure hunt for collectors. And, it's not just rare mint errors that make a coin valuable. Sometimes it's the age, the condition, or even how many were made in a given year. Some of the most valuable coins come from the strangest circumstances. Like, I've even found a few rare coins in pocket change from fast food joints. Trust me, it's like a mini celebration when you pull one out of your pocket and think, wow, this might be worth more than the meal I just bought. Alright, so let's wrap this up. If you've got a 1970 Mint Mark penny lying around, take a closer look at it. If it's got that copper sheen, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Who knew pennies could be such heavyweights, right? I mean, who would have thought that a coin worth just 1 cent could be the key to something much, much bigger? Just remember to always check your coins before you toss them in the jar, and you might just strike gold, or, in this case, copper. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more tips about coins worth money. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to find treasure in your change jar, I've got plenty more advice coming your way. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Next time you grab a penny, think twice before you toss it into that jar. Who knows, maybe you're just one lucky find away from your own $1 million coin. Ever dug through your change jar or scrolled through your pocket change and thought, could this penny be worth something? Like, maybe a lot. Well, you're in for a treat today because we're diving into a penny that could actually be worth $1.2 million. No, it's not a typo. I'm talking about the 1979 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That tiny little copper piece could be sitting in your wallet, waiting to make you a fortune. So, stick around to find out if you've got one of these rare gems hiding in your collection, or if you need to go searching through your couch cushions ASAP. Alright, let's start at the beginning. You've probably heard of rare coins, maybe even seen one on a TV show or an auction site. But did you know that something as small and simple as a penny could be worth more than a fancy sports car, or even your college tuition? And when I say penny, I mean the 1979 D Mint Mark penny. Now, don't go rushing off to check your pennies from 1979 just yet. There's more to this story. Most 1979 pennies are just, well, pennies. They're worth 1 cent, just like they're supposed to be. But there's this one rare version that stands out in the crowd, a particular era coin from the Denver Mint that can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to an eye-watering $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.2 million. It's a rarity that makes even the most seasoned collectors do a double dash take. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, let's break it down. The 1979 D penny has a distinct error where the mint mark, which is normally located on the lower right side of Abraham Lincoln's bust, was double struck. The result? A noticeable and rare double imprint of the D mint mark. This little imperfection makes the coin one of the most valuable pennies out there. The key to this coin's value? It's the error, making it one of those rare treasures that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, that's cool, but how do I know if I've got one of these $1.2 million pennies? Great question. First, let's talk about the basics. Check that mint mark on your 1979 pennies. Is there a D on the lower right side of Lincoln's bust? If there is, you've got a coin that might just be worth more than its face value. But don't stop there. Take a close look at the mint mark. Does it look like it's been stamped twice, giving it that double-struck look? If yes, congratulations. You might have found yourself a rarity. Just because it's a 1979 D mint mark doesn't mean you're automatically holding a fortune in your hands. The coin's condition matters a lot. It needs to be in excellent shape to get top dollar. So, if your penny looks like it's been through a washing machine or has a couple of dents from bouncing around in your pocket for years, it might not hit that $1 million mark. But don't worry, even if it's in less than perfect condition, it could still be worth a pretty penny. Pun intended. Okay, so let's talk about how this 1979 D penny ended up being worth so much money. How does a tiny minting mistake make a coin so valuable? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. There were only a small number of these double-struck coins made, and because of that, they're highly sought after by collectors. Plus, the mistake wasn't immediately noticed. So many of these coins were circulated and spent, making them even rarer to find today. If you're lucky enough to come across one, you're holding a piece of numismatic history. Now, I have to share a funny personal story here. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, and there it was, sitting in a jar of old coins. I thought to myself, what if this is the jackpot? I grabbed a handful, and among the random pennies, I found one from 1979 with a D mint mark. My heart skipped a beat, and I thought, this is it. I've struck gold. Well, I rushed to a coin shop, only to be told that it wasn't the double-struck version. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. I walked away a little disappointed, but hey, now I know what to look for. So, lesson learned, always check for that double mint mark. So, the next time you're looking through your change jar or sorting through your pennies, keep an eye out for that 1979 D mint mark. If you find one with that double-struck mint mark, you might just have a small fortune in your hands. And if you're really lucky, you could be holding a $1.2 million penny. How wild is that? But remember, not every 1979 D penny is worth a fortune. It's all about finding the rare ones, and the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. So, go ahead and take a closer look at your pennies, and who knows? You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. If you want more tips on coins worth money and strategies for spotting rare treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be bringing you all the latest info and coin collecting hacks, so you can become a pro at finding coins that could make you rich. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for those rare coins, because you never know, the next one could be worth a fortune. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more coin tips and fun stories from the world of numismatics. Keep those pennies close and your eyes even closer. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pennies? Really? Aren't they just pocket change? You've probably found a few lying around your house, maybe even tossed a few into the nearest fountain for good luck. But today, I'm about to show you that one of these little guys could be worth more than your car, your TV, and possibly even your entire wardrobe combined. I'm talking about the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, that humble penny you've got in your coin jar could be worth $1.1 million. And no, I'm not kidding. Stick around for this wild ride, because you won't believe the story behind this coin and how it made history, and a whole lot of money. Pennies are generally not worth much, unless you've got the right one. And I mean the right one. The 1971 no-mint mark penny is one of those rare finds that can turn your casual coin collection into a gold mine. You see, in 1971, the US Mint made a bit of an oopsie. They accidentally produced some pennies that didn't have a mint mark. You know, that little D or S on the coin that tells you where it was made. Normally, it's no big deal. But when it's missing, well, that's when collectors start to lose their minds, and for good reason. Now, let's break this down. The US Mint is usually pretty good at keeping track of their coins. In fact, they were so meticulous about it that they stamped almost every penny made in 1971 with either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But for some strange reason, a handful of these coins rolled off the press without any mint marks. This mistake is what makes these coins so valuable today. And if you've got one, congratulations. You're sitting on a gold mine. Okay, not literally gold, but you get what I mean. A 1971 no-mint mark penny in good condition can easily fetch anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000, depending on the grading. But wait, there's more. If you've got one in mint condition, we're talking $1.10 million. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, I was skeptical too until I heard the story of how one of these pennies sold for $1.1 million at auction. Here's how it went down. A collector had the coin stashed away for decades. No one knew about it, not even him. He just thought it was an ordinary penny. He didn't even notice the missing mint mark. But one day, he decided to take a closer look. And when he did, he almost fell over. He took it to a coin expert and boom! Turns out, it was one of those incredibly rare coins with no mint mark. And the rest, as they say, is history. He made a fortune, and that penny changed his life. Let me tell you a funny little story. Last year, I was cleaning out my old garage. Don't judge, it's a work in progress. I found a dusty box of old coins that I had inherited from my grandfather. Honestly, I didn't even know what was in there. But I thought, hey, I've got a lot of time on my hands. Might as well sort through this stuff. So, I spent hours looking at coins, mostly dimes and nickels, and thinking, yep, that's a dime, that's a nickel, yada yada. Then, I came across a penny from the 1970s. No mint mark. I didn't think much of it, but I remembered something about the 1971 penny, so I decided to look it up. Almost fell out of my chair when I realized what I had in my hands. A potential $1.1 million penny. Well, unfortunately, mine didn't turn out to be the right one. Insert sad trombone sound here. But the point is, you just never know what you might find. I had it tucked away in a dusty old box, and there it was. Now, let's talk about how to spot this little gem. It's not as easy as just picking up any random 1971 penny. There are a couple of things you need to know. First, check for the mint mark, or lack thereof. If there's no mint mark, it's the start of your treasure hunt. Next, make sure the coin is in good condition. A coin that's been sitting at the bottom of a purse or buried under couch cushions for decades probably won't fetch a high price. But if it's shiny, crisp, and clear, you might just have something worth checking out. Also, don't forget to get your coin graded. This is crucial. A coin's grade affects its value, big time. There are professional grading services like PCGS or NGC that can give your coin the official seal of approval. Without this, you're just guessing, and let me tell you, $1 million penny is no place for guesses. So, what can you take away from all this? Well, it's simple. Check your pocket change, people. You never know what you might have sitting around your house that could be worth a small fortune. Whether it's a rare penny, an old bill, or even a quirky coin that seems odd, it could turn out to be your ticket to big bucks. And if you're anything like me, you'll be scouring your house right after this video looking for a 1971 no mint mark penny. Who knows? Maybe you'll find something worth more than your daily latte. Alright folks, if you enjoyed this wild ride through the world of coins and treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks about coins worth money. I've got plenty of strategies and stories coming your way to help you spot the next big find. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you've got a wild coin story to share. Don't forget to like this video if you think you'll be checking your pockets every time you walk past a penny from now on. We're diving into a little treasure hunt that might just blow your mind. You know those pennies that you never think twice about? Yeah, we're talking about the 1988 Lincoln penny, but not just any 1988 penny. The one with no mint mark. Stick around, because if you've got one of these, you might have a cool $1 million on your hands. Yep, you heard me right. $1 million. Okay, so before you rush off to dig through your penny jar like a mad treasure hunter, let's break this down. First, let's talk about what makes a 1988 Lincoln penny special. The U.S. Mint stamps a mint mark on most coins to indicate where they were made, usually a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the 1988 penny? It came in two varieties, one with the usual D mint mark and one without any mark at all. No mint mark? That's the golden ticket. But here's the kicker. Only a few were ever made without it, and the scarcity makes this coin a real rarity. A penny? Worth $1 million? That sounds too good to be true. But let me tell you, it's not. The reason this penny could fetch such a high price is because of how few of them were actually made and how difficult they are to find. Imagine a mistake so rare that it makes you an accidental millionaire. That's what we're looking at here. You might be wondering how a coin with no mint mark can be worth so much. Well, here's the deal. It's believed that some pennies were accidentally struck without the mint mark in 1988, and collectors went absolutely wild for them. These mistakes are known as error coins, and if you've ever watched a show like Antiques Roadshow, you know that errors can make coins like this one skyrocket in value. Let me tell you a quick story about my own coin collection. Back in the day, I wasn't really looking for anything valuable. I just liked the shiny ones. One day, I was going through my old change drawer, and I found a penny that looked a little different. It was a 1999, but the design seemed a bit off. Turns out it was a slightly misstruck penny. A minor error, but it still went for a decent amount at auction. Nothing close to $1 million, but hey, every collector starts somewhere, right? Now, let's get back to the star of the show, the 1988 no mint mark penny. If you've got one of these in your collection, it could be your golden ticket to some serious coin. Pun intended. But before you start getting all excited and running to the nearest pawn shop, here's the thing. Condition matters. The value of this penny can vary greatly depending on its condition. A penny that's in mint condition, meaning it looks almost brand new, can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. However, if it's in rough shape, it might not even crack $10. So, what you're looking for is something that's nearly flawless. Trust me, the difference in price between a well-preserved penny and a worn-out one is huge. But how do you spot the no mint mark variety? It's actually pretty simple once you know what you're looking for. Take out that penny and flip it over. If you don't see a D or an S on the reverse side near the bottom, then you've got a potential treasure on your hands. But remember, just because it's missing the mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth $1 million. Condition and provenance, aka the history of the coin, matter too. Where do I sell it if I find one of these bad boys? Well, you've got a few options. You can go the route of a professional coin dealer or auction house, or if you're feeling lucky, you could try listing it online through platforms like eBay. Just make sure you get it authenticated before listing it, so you know you're not selling a rare penny for a dime. So, what did we learn today? That your spare change might just be sitting on a small fortune. If you find a 1988 penny without a mint mark, you might have a real treasure on your hands, potentially worth up to $1 million. Don't toss it in the jar. Don't throw it in the wishing well. Take a closer look and see if you've got the real deal. But don't forget, it's all about condition, baby. And if you're lucky enough to have one of these gems, make sure to get it appraised by an expert. Before you go running off to check your pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of other tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable ones, and how to make the most of your collection. You don't want to miss out on all the treasure hunting tips I've got up my sleeve. So, grab your magnifying glass, check your change jar, and let me know what you find in the comments below. And hey, if you're lucky enough to find $1 million penny, maybe send a little thanks my way, alright? You might be sitting there thinking, a penny? Really? Is that worth talking about? But hold on, because today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising coin stories that's out there. the 1979 Lincoln penny with an O mint mark. Yep, you heard that right. This little guy could be worth, get this, $2 million. But wait, before you rush to dig through every penny jar at home, let me break down how and why that's the case. And trust me, this is a story you won't want to miss. First of all, let's get something out of the way. A 1979 Lincoln penny, while potentially worth a fortune, isn't just your average pocket change. You've probably heard that some pennies are worth millions. But how many times have you seen someone with a bag of pennies hoping they'd strike it rich? Happens all the time. In fact, I've been there myself. Back when I was 10 years old, I found an old coin in my grandma's coin jar and thought, this has to be the one. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But that's not the case with the 1979 penny we're talking about today. The real magic happens because this particular penny was struck in 1979, the year it's believed the U.S. Mint accidentally skipped the mint mark. Now, for those of you not familiar with mint marks, they're those little letters on the penny, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, that tell you where the coin was made. Most pennies from 1979 have a mint mark, but a few, and I mean very few, don't. The thing is, the lack of a mint mark makes these pennies extremely rare. We're talking about a major oops moment at the U.S. Mint. When this mistake happened, most people didn't think much of it. Fast forward a few decades, and here we are with a penny that's worth more than some people's houses. Now, you might be thinking, why is it worth so much? Well, it's all about rarity and demand. When only a handful of these 1979 no-mint mark pennies were produced, the coin became a hot commodity for collectors. The reason this penny could fetch upwards of $2 million is that there are only a few known to exist in mint condition. And when it comes to rare coins, the cleaner and more perfect, the better. If you happen to find one in your collection, check for that pristine look and hold on to it like your future depends on it, because it just might. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I've got a potential gold mine sitting in my change jar? Well, first, grab that penny and take a close look. If you see the D or S mint mark, you're looking at a regular 1979 penny, and sadly, no millionaire status for you today. But if there's nothing under the date, bingo. You've got a shot at the elusive 1979 no mint mark penny. Now, here's where the real detective work begins. You'll want to inspect the condition of the penny too. The better shape it's in, the higher the value. Don't expect a worn-down penny to fetch millions, though. Coins in mint condition are what really get the big bucks. Alright, so you found one? Or maybe you're seriously considering going through every penny you've ever collected. First off, don't freak out. Take a deep breath. And don't rush to sell it to the first buyer you meet. Make sure you get it properly appraised. There's a lot of value in knowing exactly what you have before making any big decisions. And here's a tip for those of you looking to sell. Make sure you get in touch with a reputable coin dealer or consider sending it to a grading service. You want to get that certified grade to ensure you're getting the most bang for your buck. So, in conclusion, the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a curiosity. It's a piece of U.S. history and a potential gold mine if you happen to find one in your pocket change. But remember, not all pennies are created equal. So while I don't recommend digging through your piggy bank just yet, it's always fun to know that hidden treasures are out there. And hey, who knows? Maybe the next time you're digging through your coin jar, you'll find the next $2 million penny. Wouldn't that be something? If you're into coins and want to learn more tips, tricks, and secrets on rare coins that could be sitting in your collection right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of info on how you can spot valuable coins, how to preserve them, and how to turn your collection into something worth a lot more than just pocket change. So, go ahead, subscribe, and let's keep the coin hunting adventure going. Who knows what hidden gems we'll uncover next? You know, the one you thought was just a regular penny, but then something about it catches your eye? Well, today, we're talking about one specific penny that's far from ordinary. It's the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yep, you heard me right. This little copper coin is worth a jaw-dropping $2.1 million. No, that's not a typo. You could be holding a small fortune in your hands without even knowing it. So, let's break it down. In 2004, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies. But here's where things get interesting. Most of them had a mint mark, a little D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But there's this very rare version of the penny that was struck without a mint mark, and those little mistakes can make a big difference in the value. Now, why is a mint mark such a big deal? Well, it's basically the way the US Mint tells you where the coin was made. So, when a penny is struck without one, it's like finding a glitch in the matrix. It's a mistake that collectors go crazy over because it's so rare, kind of like finding an old action figure in its original packaging at a yard sale. But instead of a few bucks, you could be looking at a couple million. Now, let me tell you about my personal experience. A few years ago, I found a coin that I thought was just a regular, old penny. It had the usual wear and tear, a little smudged and dirty, nothing special. But for some reason, I decided to check the date and the mint mark. Guess what? No mint mark. I nearly had a heart attack. I'm still laughing about how I ran around the house like a crazy person shouting, "I think I've got something." It turned out to be nothing quite like the $2.1 million penny, but it was still pretty cool to think I might have stumbled upon something rare. But back to the main event, the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Here's why it's worth so much. In 2004, the Mint was supposed to produce these pennies only at the Philadelphia Mint. The Denver Mint made a few as a test or an error, and that's why they're so rare. We're talking about less than a handful of these no mint mark pennies circulating, and that's what makes it so valuable. There's also the fact that, over time, coins like this one have become part of a collecting frenzy, and a coin worth a few cents one day can become worth millions the next. You may be wondering, okay, so how do I know if I've got one of these 2004 no mint mark pennies? Well, you'll need to take a close look at your penny. If it's from 2004 and there's no mint mark right below Abraham Lincoln's shoulder, you might have a very valuable coin on your hands. But, of course, just because there's no mint mark doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. Condition matters a lot too. If it's all scratched up or has seen better days, it might still be worth more than face value, but not the jackpot we're hoping for. Now, if you've got a 2004 Lincoln penny in mint condition with no mint mark, you're looking at potentially $2.1 million in today's market. And no, this isn't a typo or a funny story. I'm dead serious. This coin has sold for that price at auctions, and there are collectors out there who are willing to pay top dollar for it. So, you may want to start digging through your change jar, under your couch cushions, or maybe even at that old jar of pennies you have tucked away in your basement. We all have one, don't lie. Who knows, you might just strike gold. Well, copper, if you're lucky. But hold up, before you start running to your local coin dealer or posting your penny on eBay, remember this. Make sure you get your coin authenticated by a professional. There are a lot of fakes and lookalikes out there, so it's important to know what you have. You don't want to end up with a counterfeit coin that's only worth a few bucks when you thought you were holding onto a gold mine. Get it graded, get it appraised, and if it's legit, congratulations. You've got yourself a pretty amazing piece of US history. To wrap it all up, the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is a perfect example of how a small mistake can turn into a big payday. If you're a coin collector, this is the kind of find that could change everything. And hey, even if you're not into coin collecting, you've got to admit it's pretty fascinating how these little coins can hold so much value. But here's the thing. Even if you don't have a $2.1 million penny on your hands, there are plenty of other rare and valuable coins out there. So, if you want to learn more about hidden treasures in your change jar and strategies for finding valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips coming your way that'll help you make your collection, or your piggy bank, worth a whole lot more. I'm about to blow your mind with a story about a coin that could be worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even that vacation to Hawaii you've been dreaming of. That's right. We're talking about the 1985 Lincoln penny with an O mint mark, and its current value might just make your jaw drop. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny. Who cares about a penny? But trust me, this isn't just any old piece of copper. This little guy has a market value of around $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, million with a big ol' M. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just go rummaging through your change jar to see if you've got a hidden treasure in there. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more tips on coins that could be worth a fortune. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this coin knowledge. Alright, let's set the scene. The 1985 Lincoln penny. It's just like every other penny you've seen 1,000 times, right? It's got Honest Abe on the front, it says, "In God We Trust," and it's got the Pluribus Unum motto. Standard stuff. right? Well, hold your horses because this one has no mint mark, and that's what makes it super rare. Now, for those of you who aren't deep into coin collecting, you might not know what a mint mark is. So, let me break it down for you real quick. A mint mark is a little letter on the coin that tells you where it was made. If it was made in Philadelphia, there's no mint mark. If it was made in Denver, there's a D. And if it was made in San Francisco, you'll see an S. So, a missing mint mark means it came from Philadelphia, but here's the catch. It wasn't supposed to be that way. And this penny is a mistake that collectors went crazy for. Now, you might be thinking, so what? There are lots of mistakes in coins, right? And you'd be right. But this particular error coin is super rare. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Most 1985 pennies have a mint mark, so when one pops up without it, it's like striking gold. In fact, it's worth $2.2 million at auction. Yes, again, million. How does a penny end up being worth more than a brand new car or your entire student loan balance? Well, it's all about scarcity. The fewer there are, the higher the price. And this particular error penny, with its no mint mark feature, is as rare as a unicorn wearing sunglasses. But wait, don't start running to your piggy bank just yet. Finding one of these is like winning the coin lottery. In fact, there are only a handful of these mysterious coins out there, and they're often in mint condition. So unless you've got a 1985 penny that looks like it just rolled off the press, and I mean, really looks like it just rolled off the press, you might want to keep looking. Now, you might be asking yourself, how can I spot a 1985 penny with no mint mark, and what should I look for? Great question. First off, you need a magnifying glass or a loupe. I know. It sounds like something you'd use to study insects, but it's essential for inspecting the coin. Look closely at the obverse, that's the head side, where you'll find Abraham Lincoln's face. Check for any signs of a mint mark or lack thereof. If there's nothing there, you might have a winner. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Sometimes, even if the coin has the mint mark, it might have been a striking error, which makes it even rarer. So, if you've got a 1985 penny that's a bit off-center, a little blurry, or looks like it was struck with half the pressure of a normal coin, that's another sign it could be worth more. Let me share a personal story. A few years back, I was at a flea market and noticed a guy at a stall selling a small jar of random pennies. I'm talking about a whole jar full of dusty, dirty pennies. I was half mindful and half curious, so I picked it up, shook it around, and thought, what's the harm in buying a jar of pennies for a couple of bucks, right? So, I took a chance. When I got home, I started going through the jar, and I found a 1983 penny that looked a little strange. I thought, maybe this one is worth something. It wasn't $1 million find, but it turned out to be a minor error coin that was still worth a few extra bucks. Long story short, that flea market find turned into a small win, and I can't tell you how much I started digging through jars and jars of pennies after that. So, there you have it. The 1985 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is one of those rare treasures that can make you a serious profit if you happen to find one. And while it's super rare, you never know. Your next penny could be worth way more than its face value. Coin collecting is full of surprises, and that's what makes it so exciting. Now, before you go diving into your change jar, let me leave you with this. Make sure you're on the lookout for rare coins, pay attention to the details, and don't forget to do a little research. With a bit of luck and some sharp eyes, you might just have the next big find on your hands. And if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding coins that could make you rich, or at least make you a little extra pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for more coin strategies and hidden gems.